One sentence is all it took to reveal a pattern I had been living with for my entire life that I didn't even recognize. It was a pattern of catastrophic thinking, the type of thinking that always anticipates the worst in things that are coming. And I really didn't recognize it within myself until I read a quote by Seneca, the Stoic philosopher who was a part of Emperor Nero's court. And the quote is, "He suffers more than is necessary who suffers before it is necessary." And said a different way, the way that I read it is, "He who suffers before it is necessary suffers more than is necessary." And when I read that, it was like a bomb went off in my brain, especially the part that said, "He who suffers before it is necessary," because that was me. I could identify so much with that. I was always anticipating the worst case scenario in anything that I thought. What I could see in the pattern was what I would do to myself. I would literally torture myself with these thoughts. At the end of the day, I'd lie in bed and I'd think about things that maybe had happened during the day that didn't go necessarily the way that I wanted to, but I would ruminate on that. I would chew on that over something that I couldn't change. Or I'd sit there, I'd lay there, and I would think about things that were coming the next day, things that I had no control over, things that weren't even there yet. I was suffering over things that might not ever even happen. And over the years, this pattern, it had very real costs for me in my life. It cost me quality time with my family, with my kids. It cost me dearly in my mental health and my physical health, just this pattern of always anticipating the worst. This wasn't just major decisions that I would catastrophize over. It was also the everyday things too. I'll give you a quick example. One of the biggest enemies of any mail carrier is bad weather. So my pattern was always, I would check the weather for the week. I checked the long range forecast, 7-10 day forecast on Sundays to see what was coming up. And if there was rain expected, for example, on a Wednesday, I would spend the next 3 days in fear of the rain because nobody wants to deliver mail in the rain. I literally would just obsess over it, that the fact that it was going to rain. And for the next 3 days, I would be unhappy knowing that it was going to rain on Wednesday. I would work myself up into such a frenzy. It was like I could actually feel the rain running down the back of my shirt. I could feel the water in my shoes, the seat being wet because the window has to be open if I'm delivering mail. And it was horrible. The thing about that kind of worry and that kind of thinking is 9.5 times out of 10, it never rained. I spent 3 days worrying about an event that just never happened. It wasn't until I read that quote by Seneca that I realized what I was doing to myself. And my initial reaction was, well, I can't help it. Excuse me, sir, you can absolutely help it. You can choose the thoughts that you're thinking. That one sentence gave me a glimpse into what I was doing to myself. Like a bull in a rodeo, I needed to wrangle my thoughts. I needed to get control over them and redirect how I was thinking about things. That's when I started to recognize the things that I had control over versus things that I don't control. So what could I do about the rain? I can't stop the rain from coming. But what I can do is I can get myself a decent rain suit. I can get myself some waterproof boots. And now I keep everything in a backpack and I keep it in the van with me as I'm delivering my route in case something comes up. Easy peasy, problem solved. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and tell you that I do this 100% perfectly all day, every day, because I don't. I'm still a work in progress at 61. It's still sometimes a challenge for me on on a daily basis. I still check the weather report on Sundays, but I don't obsess over it more. I understand that I can't control whether it's going to rain or not. I can just control what I do about it and how I think about it. So overall, the first step in this work in progress was just recognizing the pattern and seeing it for what it was. The second thing was understanding what I could control versus what I couldn't control. So if there are thoughts that you have, catastrophic thinking, things that you obsess over, things that you worry about, ask yourself, how many times have those things that I worry about, how many times have they actually worked out the worst way that I was obsessing over? I think you'll probably find out that it's a lot less, if not close to zero. Thanks for taking a few minutes to spend time with me today, and I'll see you in the next video.